Okay, hello. Welcome back to another YouTube video. This is a sketch with me, another one. I've definitely made previous ones before, but this one is more of a sketch and chat. So if you don't want to hear me yap, then I suggest just, muting me and just watching. But today in this video, I'll be talking about my reflections on art school and overall life so far as a post grad that is officially 1 year. So I'll state actually the materials being used in this video is the Neocolors Caran d'Ache 2 water soluble, and I use my Posca markers, the pastel set, as well as some Sharpie fine line. I don't know if I use any other materials. I'm also recording this on voiceover and I'm not looking at the thing because it's loud. So, yes. If you don't want to hear any of the ambience of the video, I do suggest just muting it, like I said before. Yeah, yeah. So, and it's also really windy in these clips, so yeah, whatever. So, one of the first topics I do want to talk about is my reflection on art school overall. And the first topic would be my classroom experiences. So, entering 2019, my overall class experience was pretty okay. It felt like really high energy and chatty. I'm majored in traditional animation, by the way, and my intro to animation class was really fun because everyone's new, no one's has expectations of performing really well and whatnot. We were just learning new techniques for the first time, and as someone who's never done like professional question mark, I don't know what to call that, animation before, that was really exciting. I have had animation experience before because I used to be a Flipnote animator. So I knew some of the techniques for the most part. Honestly, I was not a good Flipnote animator because I was just tracing over what other people animated, but it did teach me how to animate whenever I did start making my own Flipnotes. But anyways, I came in and was excited to learn animation. That was great. And then of course 2020, well, in between 2019 and 2020, spring, COVID hit and all my classes went online, and I was okay with that for the most part. Though that did really change the classroom experience because no one was social anymore. Everyone struggled with talking to each other. I mean, we had the Discord chats, but it wasn't active in a way that sitting at a lunch table and chatting. That's what the first animation class kind of felt like. So that kind of distraught me for a while because people didn't know how to talk. And I felt kind of lonely, but don't know. Don't know how everyone else felt about that time. So it was a rough time. On Still on the topic of classroom socialization, socializing. Wow. After quarantine was over, we switched back to being in person. It was hybrid. Within that time frame, I was also hired as a student tutor for the animation department, and so I did get to see a lot of some students and teachers, and I was able to talk to my coworkers and learn new stuff and whatnot at the same time. And that was great. But once we switched to being in person, I noticed that the environment of some of the classrooms was just quite different, and no one really could talk to each other. And so I was kind of frustrated because I feel like I didn't get to know my peers as much as I wanted to, which is not the best, considering that at the end of your last year of college, you do a group project with these classmates, and you don't know any of them, and you've been in the classes with them for the 4 years, and it's like troubling on its own. So, because of that, me being a student tutor, it allowed me to talk to as many students as possible and also assist students. And this is when I realized how, like, underprepared some of the professors are in teaching animation. So, the next topic is the type of professors, the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good professors are the ones who are really pretty much open to learning animation, even though they might not be skilled in it, or give proper feedback in how to improve your animation. So there's like a handful of professors at my school that knew animation and could do it really well. And those classes tend to be like a little bit more chill and great. However, some of those professors were not good at giving feedback out of like fear for some reason. I feel like they were afraid to give students feedback because they don't want to get in trouble for saying something kind of harsh. I don't think harsh is the right word, but if it comes off as harsh, they don't want to tell the students, so they kind of just let students fly by in all. The bad type of professors are for me personally, are the ones that can't really give feedback, but also can't give feedback, but also just can't teach. I can't even explain it. It's like, it's not the worst thing, it's just kind of bad. Like, why are you teaching here if you can't communicate? Essentially, the ones that can't communicate the point, but like are okay to be around for the most part. So like, there's also a handful of teachers that are also like that, and typically the students that have those teachers' classes end up coming to student tutors like me and a few of my friends to understand a concept. So it's like those students tend to walk away kind of frustrated that they did not understand what the professors were teaching. And that also comes with the lack of software proficiency within the professors that my school hires, and that's really frustrating because people are paying a lot of money to be at school. There should be training sessions for the professors in the summer and winter terms, or like the in-between break times, and there isn't. And so that explains the ugly type of professors. These are the professors that just kind of give extremely harsh critique, telling students to give up and not actually communicating their lessons well. And I can't say there's no handful of teachers. There's only just one. There's just one teacher, but they're like the loudest of the majority of this professor bodies. And while that teacher does show or teach, I can't even call it teaching. It's just not the best. They show great skill sets in the software that they're teaching, but their critique is just straight out mean for some reason. And I think that's not great if you're talking to a bunch of students who are entering college or further along in college. And I would also like to note that my college accepts people within all skill sets. So some students have never learned animation a day in their life. They haven't learned perspective and all that stuff, the foundations. My school doesn't have a curriculum, at least for my department. They don't have a curriculum that catches students up with the skills that they're lacking. So students who don't know how to draw humans, or just don't know how to draw in general, can enter and take the same classes. However, some of the professors, depending on who you get, does not take the time to actively try to catch these students up. They would rather just say, give up, you shouldn't be here, and that you're not gonna make it, rather than spending time and it's like, hey, let's see where you're falling in, and try to provide resources for you. They don't do that. They just, like, I guess it's like people would call that hand holding, but like if the school was gonna accept students of all skill sets, there should be like a class dedicated for students, or we should be testing into classes to see if we are able to get into a certain section and get caught up. It's really frustrating. Yeah. Like, on to the next topic, I did like learn a lot of useful stuff. However, I find it kind of frustrating or experience that mine specifically was extremely generalist, because they want to teach students everything, so they have a higher chance of getting hired. However, because some of these classes don't really fall back on each other, like, what I mean by fall back is that you could be doing like drawing for animation, which is you learning traditional animation, honestly, and then the next class we lay out. They don't really tell you to like take your animations from the previous class and then insert it into the next class, and that's really irritating because I like it. They just don't. They just don't teach us that. Or like, hey, you draw a storyboard, now give it a layout, draw a background, and then have the animation there. We don't get taught that. And this is really a problem because you do learn a lot of software. However, some students, they don't perform well in every software. It's like you're a trade of all cards, but you're not good at any of them, and that's not the best like thing to exit out of art school. So, like, this is where I wish there was like specialization, because you could just get better at like one or two skills, and then you perform so well that you have a higher chance of getting hired in the desired position that you want. However, there's been like some conflict with people like generalists versus specializing within the art community, especially in the animation department or the animation world in general, where they felt like forcing students to specialize really early on hinder their skill sets, whereas like people who don't have any sort of specialization or they're generalists, they feel like they're not learning at all. And that's where I was. I wanted to specialize in storyboarding, character design, and comics, but like there's only 2 storyboarding classes, one being taught by someone who's never storyboarded a day in their life. They were comic artists, and while you probably know that it's just like similar things, no, it's not completely, especially when you start breaking down how specific storyboards are in animation, because there's TV storyboarding and then feature storyboarding, and the professors don't know the difference. They just teach you whatever they see on YouTube. And also, that's another point of mine. They just put up YouTube videos. If they don't know a thing, they put up a YouTube video. I had issues with trying to understand an assignment and what a professor was trying to teach me, and I like asked her like a tutorial essentially, or like a better explanation. So that professor just pulls up a random YouTube tutorial, and they were like, "Here, this should teach you this." And I was like, "Did you watch it?" I was like, "What is the video about?" And they just like stared at me, and I was like, "I don't know." And I was like, "What? Why are you suggesting me a YouTube video that you haven't even watched?" And I was irritating. So, I wanted to specialize at school. That's what the hopes were. But however, there being like 2 storyboarding classes, like I said earlier, taught by non-storyboard professors, and then there is no character design class whatsoever at my school. That was so aggravating for me because now I have to search out for learning resources and storyboarding, but also character design. People are paying money to be here to learn, and they don't even have the proper classes to learn what they desire. And I was unfortunate enough that I did not pay a dime for my schooling. I essentially kind of got a full ride. All I had to do was pretty much keep my grades up. And that was like no problem. But however, that did affect how I felt towards the classes in the school. Because over time, because a lot of the classes are just things I didn't know what to do, I started caring less about what the professors were showing me and whatnot. It's like really pretty much to the point where I started walking out of class. And like, I don't recommend people leaving their class if they're paying for it. However, I was like, this is not what I want to do. I don't want to be doing advertisements and whatnot. I'm a narrative focused person. I want to learn how to do narrative type of animation. And a lot of it kind of felt catered to advertisement and whatever. And that goes into my next point. A lot of the goals of the professors in my department were students getting hired after college. I do not think that is a bad goal. However, it is not a realistic goal. Because, like I said earlier, a lot of the classes are general, so they teach you everything. Because of that, stated before, you learn everything, but you're not good at any of it. And a lot of the work that you do in college ends up in your portfolio, and it's a lot of those assignments are due within 1 week, so the animation is not great. And you're gonna be like, wait, you got a whole week to do it. No, let me tell you, you have 5 classes to attend to. 1 week for animation, that's probably like 7 to 14 seconds, and then you have to finish it. It's gonna get cramped because you have to attend to other classes and other work. You're probably doing gen eds on top of that. That's like frustrating. I don't like it. So because of the work that you make within the week ends up in your portfolio, it's not good, and people are obviously going to tell that this was just a college assignment because it's a fucking bouncing ball, or it's a parallax. Like, there's nothing unique about the things that they're really teaching us. However, they don't tell us to execute it creatively, because they only teach us the technicals, and that's really frustrating. Because I'm like, being good at doing the technicals is not enough to get you hired. You also need to be creative, because you're aiming to be an animator or work in the animation industry, which is very creative. So it's like the technical skills can always catch up to the creative skills, but you cannot teach someone how to be creative, and it's annoying. So because of the goals getting hired, a lot of students end up falling kind of behind and falling flat because the professors don't want to catch students up to the desired skill set and whatnot, and you would rather take them and give up. And yeah, me being like decent at some of the skills, I just didn't care. And I was like, I'm not putting any of this in my work or my portfolio because I don't want to work in those type of job positions anymore. Breathing. Yeah, I don't want to work in some of these positions. So then I put in we have a portfolio development class. I put in some like school assignments in there, but overall, as soon as I graduated, I was like, I'm throwing everything out. And that is exactly what I did. I started from scratch. And because of this, leads into my next point, societal expectations. Now, for job searching, and throughout the portfolio development class, you're also told to apply for jobs and whatnot. I've been applying for jobs since sophomore year of college. So I already knew the expectation of like me not getting jobs. No problem. But however, like your parents will expect you to get a job like as soon as possible because you graduated. So now you spent 4 years learning the proper material, so you should be able to get a job in these desired industries. And that's not true. But because of that, me being at home, my parents find it extremely frustrating that I'm not getting hired anywhere and whatnot, and they think I'm not trying because they're like, oh, you're just giving up. And I'm like, no, I'm not giving up. I've been spending the past year working on my portfolio and trying to learn the proper information from my mentors that I seek during college. Not within my college, but outside. And because of this, it's like, if you can't get a job, you can't move out, and that affects my mental stability quite a lot, and probably a lot of my friends too, because parents are like, get a job, work in a job, be miserable, get a job that you don't care about, and save up money so you can move to get a job that you do care about. It's like, that's not how that works. And then, because of that falls into like your personal expectations. It's like trying to understand what makes you happy and whatnot. However, it's like, because some of the things that make you happy are out of reach, you tend to like self-doubt, and then you fail to execute anything else. And so that ends up like falling into some of the work where I'm like, I'm trying to understand what the things that I like, because a lot of the assignments that I did in college were just people giving me random shit to do, and I didn't care for it. Therefore, I couldn't figure out what I liked as an individual and what makes me unique. So, I've been spending the year doing character designs and storyboards and comics, and overall trying to understand, like, and since post-graduation, you're no longer in the college structure, whatnot. You don't have weekly assignments. You're just floating around. And then, because of that, you're just kind of airheaded. It's not the right word, but it's like you're lost, because it's like, I no longer have a structure. I don't know what's appropriate for me and during this time and whatnot. And that leads to you just kind of trying to figure out what's better, what's the best thing schedule for you, what's the best schedule for your friends and whatnot, because now you lost a community because they're scattered all over the world now, and you don't get to see anybody, so you're just kind of alone for the most part. But like, you could obviously like build that community back within Discord, but not a lot of people are good at texting on that note. So anyways, you're gonna, because of, like, texting is also an issue, not with me, but with other people I've been around. So I get pulled into like post-grad student projects, and some people are not the best at communicating what they need for, not verbally, over text, and some things just get muddy, and I'm like, I can't understand what they are, what you're telling me and whatnot, but that's more of a personal issue than theirs. So yeah, that's been my overall experience of like art school and life. And I really did wish that art school was a little bit more organized in the way that the professors they hired, because they just hire anybody. I would also like to note that 90% of my professors are white, and they have done microaggressions, and it gets like, it just gets like thrown over the bus, like it's not the right word, it's not the right sentence, it just gets tossed out like it's nothing, and it's like, oh, this professor doesn't mean that. If they do something like racially, like a microaggression, and it's like, hey, what the fuck, don't do this and whatnot. They're like, oh, this professor is so sorry, from another person. Like, if you report it and someone else will say, like, they didn't mean it like that, it's okay. And it's like, no, it's not okay. You need to understand how your words affect people and whatnot. But they get a little pity party, or you get just like, oh, I'm sorry, but not like explaining why. So that's really annoying. But yeah, this is it. So I say enjoy the last remaining minutes of this Sketch With Me video. And thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe. And follow me on social media. Twitter at DreamGirlPixie, and Instagram is at Merkabun. And consider commissioning me, because I'm broke. Please. Thank you, and bye.